Yo, Dax told me before the video starts he had a super important message that he couldn't wait to tell you all about. All right, bro, you gonna tell him? You too tired to tell him? Look how dirty this man is. He was jumping in water today. You're too tired? I'll tell him for you. He wanted to let you know this video is brought to you by Squarespace. Head over to squarespace.com/EvanRanft to start your free trial today and use code EvanRanft to get 10% off your first purchase. Thanks for the message, Dax. YouTube, what is good? Welcome to today's episode of Photography Behind the Scenes. Today, I want to give y'all a real inside look at my creative process when it comes to city and street photography. A lot of times in these YouTube videos, you see kind of half the process. I might show a bad photo every now and again. I talk about what I'm doing, but today, I really want to cover the entire hour and a half that I'm out shooting and show you how we jump from location to location, how I make a lot of bad photos that are terrible, and how I end up getting from point A, which is me deciding to go out to shoot, to point B, which is a few photos that I'm happy with, that I'm willing to share with y'all, and that I'm usually willing to share on my social media. I think it's important to see that it's not always pretty getting this final product that you see online or in these YouTube videos that I make. So if this happens to be your first photography behind the scenes video, here's how it works. I wear a GoPro on my head to give you a first person look at what it's like to be out making photos with me. If you like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button for me, because it's not always the most fun going out to shoot with a GoPro on my head looking like a freak, but that thumbs up button makes up for it. One more thing before we get out to shoot today, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring the video. Squarespace is a massive part of my photography business. It's been a game changer for me. I was using them before they were a sponsor on this channel. My old website, I did what everyone thinks they have to do. I went and found a web developer. They coded it for me. It was a nightmare because I could never really update the site. If I had an idea, I had to go back to them. It was just a lot. And now with Squarespace, I can control everything myself. I can add new merch to the site. I can add the photo set from today's video to the site with no problem at all. Y'all know how it goes, editing photo, editing video, working with clients. It's so time consuming, so it's very refreshing to actually have a piece of my business that is fast, easy, and efficient. So Squarespace is hooking the viewers up with the opportunity to build your own site. Just head to squarespace.com/EvanRanft to start a free trial today and use code EvanRanft to get 10% off your first purchase. Now, let's get into this GoPro mode. I'm gonna talk about a few other things at the end of the video, but I wanna jump into this behind the scenes. So GoPro mode, let's get it. So as I was driving into downtown, a bunch of raindrops accumulated on my windshield, and I made this photo right here, which came out a lot cooler than I was anticipating. I was honestly just messing around when I made it. So when I get started on these shoots, when I head out, I like to try to give myself a direction or some theme just to keep myself on track. This is always subject to change as I go through the shoot, but today we're going to start with water, with rain, with moody weather photos, and then go from there. Now right here, I notice this empty scene. I like all the lines. I'm shooting on my 14 to 24 millimeter today because I'm worried about the rain. The Nikon has really good weather sealing, so that's what I'm going to use. And it's kind of cool to occasionally shoot at this super wide angle focal length. So I make this photo right here thinking about how cool it'd be if someone was in this scene, if there's anything we can do with it. Eventually I decided to move on because not enough really was happening here. So I make my way down to this MARTA station right now. The city is so empty. There's literally nobody out, and I decided this might be something else that I focus on. So right here, I like the way this train station looks. There's so much line, so much symmetry. I tried to take advantage of that puddle down there, but it wasn't really the right angle. Right here, I'm making a photo of this stairwell with the wall and the emptiness. It doesn't look how I thought it would look in my head. It's very bad, but just so y'all know, most of the photos today are going to be unedited. This is straight out of camera, but I decided to make my way now into the train station. This is a really cool train station that I've never had a lot of luck at with photos. I figured today there might be some cool lines down here, some cool architecture. We have one person in the train station, which I was a little bit surprised by. So I make this photo right here of them coming down the escalator. I wish I had more time to really set up a composition because this one is kind of weak, not my favorite. It might have been better to shoot at more of an angle. One thing I thought about was maybe somebody coming down this escalator, how cool it would look with all the lines and the symmetry. Once again, not really that good. There's just not a lot going on here. That photo is also unedited, straight out of camera. Move out of the train station, and I noticed this person walking through this bridge right here. I thought it'd be cool if the person maybe was a little farther up the bridge and created a silhouette. Once again, not very good. So at this point, I give myself a quick minute to reset. I start thinking, where can we go? Is there any other areas around here that might have interesting photos since that first location didn't work? One thing that I like to do when I'm out shooting in the city and in the street is if I find a location that I think is going to work, a composition that I like, or somewhere that I feel is interesting, I stay in that location. But if it's not going to work, I just move on, make a mental note that, hey, this is something interesting. There could be something here, and I come back to it later when the conditions are more favorable. I don't like to waste time when I'm out shooting. I like to be efficient, and if I find something that I think is going to work, I stick with that, and I move on from the things that won't. So right here, I noticed these police cars. I think they look kind of cool. Wait for the cars in this street to empty out, move into the center of the road, make this empty street photo, kind of taking advantage of that theme I was talking about of the city being so empty. This one, once again, is not good. But in my personal opinion, I feel like you need to make a bunch of bad photos to get to the few good photos. So just shoot off instinct. If you're out and you say this might look good, make the photo. Like right here, I think maybe we'll do something more with these water droplets. Another terrible photo. But as I keep walking down the street, I notice this Atlanta sign right here. And this is an example of a location that I know will work. We have a puddle down here. We have the Atlanta sign. We get a reflection, and I can hear a helicopter on this roof. So I wait for the helicopter to take off. It flies in the perfect direction. That kind of was some luck on my part. Make this photo right here of the Atlanta sign reflecting in the puddle with the helicopter overhead. That one just worked. Really happy with the way that came out. So I keep moving. I go over by the Atlanta Civil Rights Museum. This is a very cool museum, a lot of cool architecture over here. Now in my mind, I'm at a point where I have that photo of the window. I have this photo of the puddle. Those are two rain photos. Now I want something that kind of evens everything out. I want maybe more of a street photo, maybe a photo with an actual person in it, something just a little more interesting to kind of balance everything out. Those two photos I think will look cool together, but one other image I think is going to tie everything together. So now I'm looking for that. Find this cool bridge over here. I've been there before. This shot is terrible, but we might go back to that bridge eventually. There is some potential there. But at this point, if I'm looking for people, if I'm looking for a more street type photo, I need to head to where the people are, increase my probability of actually making the photo that I want. So the next thing I do contradicts everything that I said. As I'm walking back towards downtown, I notice all these lines, all these lights, and I think they're really interesting. And I try to set up a composition that does something to utilize all of them. Once again, another terrible photo. I'm trying to utilize some motion with those lines, and this is just the process of me figuring out. I try a few different things, look around, and try to just decide what composition will work here, what won't with the lens that I have. The only other lens I have in my bag is a 70 to 200, which won't work right there. So I set my bag down, I wait here, I use it as a tripod and end up making this photo as someone walks through my frame. Loving the way this looks. My speed was 1/25 of a second. So during this entire shoot, I kept my aperture and my ISO the exact same. Actually, for this one, I might have dropped it down a little bit, but I don't think I had to because it was in the shadows. But all I did was I just moved my speed around accordingly to changing light conditions. By shooting at f8, it can keep everything in focus. It's really easy to shoot at. Now, if I did want some depth of field or something like that, I would obviously change it. But for today, I kept it simple at f8, ISO 800, and then I just moved the speed around. So after I get that photo, it's pretty much a wrap on the day. I know I got 3 good ones. I've been out for about an hour and a half. It's time for me to head home, see all these people on scooters, think it might be something cool here. Photo is terrible, but all in all, the day was good. You know, we made a lot of bad photos, but it was those bad photos that led us to the 3 interesting photos that I really like that ended up making this photo set right here. All right, so I'm really happy with how that photo set came out. If I'm gonna rank it on a scale of 5, we're gonna go 3.25, maybe a 3.5 out of 5. I might be being a little hard on myself, but I like the way it came out. All the photos tie in together. I do wish there was a little more of a story going on, but not bad for what it was. I would say for me, one of the biggest things that has helped me creatively is not setting crazy expectations for how I expect a shoot to go. I used to go out trying to make one photo. I had one photo in mind. I wanted to do this, and now I kind of just go with the flow more. I say, we're gonna go out for an hour. We're going to see what happens. And I think that's the key to photography, is just being present. going out, being there, and then just seeing what happens instead of obsessing about doing one exact thing or obsessing about meeting this expectation that you set for yourself that's not based on reality. So for me, it's just easier to go out to shoot, say, hey, we're gonna do some city photography, we're gonna do some street photography. That's why it's titled city/street photography, because I normally don't even know what I'm gonna be shooting when I head out. I say we might do some architecture, we might do some cityscapes, we might do all street photography. It just depends. I go with the flow, and then once I kind of get going, I start setting a direction for myself like I mentioned in the video. But not having too crazy of expectations, I think, is the key for city and especially street photography. But that is it for me today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully that gave you the insight you've been looking for into the creative process for my photos. Thank you for watching this one. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for more photography videos. I'll see y'all next time.